Welcome to Fan Fave with Katrina. Fan Fave with Katrina. It's time to talk pop culture.
Welcome back. I'm Katrina, back again with another episode of Fan Fave. We're picking right back up where we left off with the Fan Fave Fandom Spotlight on Harries. This is part 2, so if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I definitely recommend you hop over to the episode before this one and check that one out as well. Now, as a reminder, in Fan Fave's Fandom Spotlight, you hear directly from fans in interview-style episodes that can be on any topic, from your favorite musicians to even your favorite movie franchise. Today, you will hear from different panels of Harry Styles fans as they talk about various topics regarding Harry's career. We will talk primarily about his music, experiences at his concerts, his exploration into the world of film, and even his time with One Direction. So, let's hop into our first panel to hear about Harry's music and touring.
Hi, I'm Tori, and I've been a Harry fan since, honestly, as long as I can remember, like the One Direction days. I don't even know how I became the One Direction fan. I think because my cousins were really into it, so I just became one, like, just from them talking about it. And then ever since then, was, like, obsessed with it. And how? I guess just because of, like, One Direction, and then the solo days, like, just so good.
Okay, hi, I'm Andre. I became a Harry fan in the One Direction days, but I became a fan through 5 Seconds Summer, which is kind of weird. And I remember I was supposed to go to one of their shows, but I had something. So yeah, and I've been a fan ever since.
That's really, really great. I love Five Sauce. Back when they were touring with One Direction was the best. So I guess we can start off talking about his music. I want to know, what is your favorite Harry song? If you could only listen to this one song by Harry, what would that one be and why?
Okay, so off of this most recent album, I'm going to get clowned for this, but I love Late Night Talking. I don't know why. I think it just scratches something in my brain, but just everything about that song is the best. But my favorite overall is Carolina from the first album. That song is just so underrated. And I think what contributed to me, that being my favorite all-time Harry song, was the first show that I ever went to. I was in the pit. And this was on his first, I guess, stadium tour. And it was just so embarrassing because everybody in the pit was so dead when that song came on, except for me. I was jumping around like an idiot. And I remember my best friend Grace was with me, and she was like, he's literally staring at you, laughing at you. The whole band is laughing at you. And I had no idea because I was jumping around and could not visibly see anything on the stage. And that just contributed to why it's forever my favorite Harry song. And it's so underrated. And of course he took it off the set list, but I wish it was still there.
Mine definitely has to be Daydreaming. I'm so in love with that song. I always find myself going back to that song, and I'm gonna hear it live tomorrow in the pit. I'm so excited.
Wow, that's so exciting. You're gonna have such a fun time. I would have to say my favorite Harry song is Sign of the Times. I just feel it's so special. And whenever I hear it live, or whenever I listen to it when I'm down, it just always lifts me up. It's just the best song ever.
Sign of the Times literally shook the world. No joke. When that dropped, I think every time stopped for a good hour. No joke.
It was definitely so different to me because I feel I was so used to the pop sound of One Direction. And then he came out with that and I was like, whoa, Harry is going in a completely different route. And so just hearing that and that being his first single is crazy because it's such a strong start.
Yeah, definitely. I feel he kind of wanted to kind of shock his previous audience, but also establish that he was kind of going in a different direction than One Direction. And kind of just shocked everybody with Sign of the Times because it was just so deep and meaningful and very different sounding than One Direction. Made in the AM was, kind of fading out of that super pop. And then Sign of the Times was just even farther out. So I think he wanted to shock everybody and then also kind of collect fans that weren't just from One Direction. And he did exactly that with Sign of the Times.
I have a little bit more of a difficult question, I guess, for fans of Harry, but I want to know what your least favorite Harry song is. Maybe like a skip song, something that you don't often listen to.
I'm thinking about one right now, but it like depends on how I'm feeling. I'm gonna say maybe I'm gonna get hate for this. Maybe boyfriends. I just it depends on how I'm feeling.
Like boyfriends, I have to be like I can't listen to that certain times. Like I like it has to hit a certain way. But other than that, definitely Watermelon Sugar. Like that's one song that you need to be like in the pop mood for. Like if that came on when I'm in the car, I'm like, no. Because it's just so basic and overplayed at the same time. I don't even know for me. Like it's just lost all meaning because I've heard it like way too much.
I guess I can kind of see that. I still feel like Watermelon Sugar is like one of my favorite Harry singles, though. I just really like that one. And also like boyfriends, I feel like for me, like my least favorite Harry songs are just like the slower ones. Cause like I feel like in general, I just don't like a lot of like slow music. But like Boyfriends is probably one of my favorite ballads by Harry. Especially live. It's just so good. And I hate that like we don't get it on the set list anymore. I guess we can also talk about his albums. Do you have a Harry album ranking? Like what is your favorite Harry album, your least favorite?
Okay, I might get hate for this, but first off, It Just One comes number one. Like nothing ever will top that. And then Harry's House would be second for me because I feel like I would listen to that a lot more. And then Fine Line comes like three for me because I feel like some of the songs were not as much as what I would listen to, except for like To Be So Lonely was one of my favorites. Adore You will always be good. Lights Up and Cherry. And then, sometimes Golden. But other than that, the rest of the songs I wouldn't really listen to if I wasn't like a fan of his. But nothing will ever top HS1. Like every single song on that, there's no skip on HS1. Like you can't top that ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I probably gonna put Harry's House first, and then HS1, and then Fine Line.
Do either of you have a favorite music video of Harry's?
I think my favorite would be Adore You just because of all the hype surrounding it and the beginning and just like the storyline behind it. Like, what was all the shenanigans for with the Adore You and the Rhoda and all of that stuff? Like, it was so funny. Like, he had to keep us thinking, he had to keep us on our toes. And I think that was just so funny looking back at it, how everyone was like, what is this? So I feel like that one was my favorite. And I just love the whole like storyline behind it and that he didn't just make like a super pop basic music video that you would expect from the song and that he kind of turned it into a story. That's what I think.
Yeah, I actually really love Adore You, like the music video. I always go back to it. Like I always like rewatch it because it's such a good music video. But then I also like the late night talking music video. It's just so cute.
Yeah, I feel like this one is a really hard one for me. I definitely would say Adore You as tops because of the whole buildup of it. Like it was one of the first things that like really made me decide like for sure I wanted to work in like music marketing and entertainment marketing just because I loved the way that like his team engaged the fans and like the buildup for the release. I just thought it was so cool. Some other favorites, I think the Kiwi music video is really cute. And also, I love the Watermelon Sugar video. I just love the aesthetic of it. It's so summer. It's just amazing. Now, my last question with the music. Do you have any special stories or relations to songs by Harry that you want to share? No pressure to share anything if you don't want, but I just wanted to ask.
Okay, so like I had said before, my relationship like with the song Carolina, but also Only Angel. Hearing that for the first time live with like the Rubik's Cube, that was the first show that I went with the Rubik's Cube and everything when he solves it and then he comes out and he sings Only Angel. That and then the curtain drop. I didn't go to the curtain drop show. I wish. But hearing that for the first time was like actually groundbreaking. Like I don't think I could ever get over that. And then I would say like Ever Since New York, love that song. Have like a connection to it. I love whenever he drops anything like relating to New York. The show that I went to Thursday, he came right in front of me for It's New York Baby Always Jacked Up. And I literally went absolutely crazy to the point where my video is not even him. Like my friend had to send me her video because I like absolutely lost it, because that is my favorite line ever, because I would always go into New York to see him for concerts, and I specifically saw him on the Today Show, and I remember just like going through the tunnel, like driving in, being like, it's New York Baby always jacked up, Holland Tunnel for nose is always backed up, like playing through my mind like the hype of just going into New York and seeing him. I love whenever he drops any lyrics of New York, and then especially how he does so many shows in New York, so many pop-ups, like he's feeding New York as he should.
I want to say Only Angel too, because every time I listen to the song, like that just brings me, it's just so good. And listening to it live, just wow, like I thought it was ascending with the whole beginning of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of those. And I also think it's interesting how they're all from HS1. But I definitely have to say, like, ever since New York is like an ultimate favorite of mine as well. And like when HS1 came out, like that first tour, I hadn't seen Harry in New York. So like hearing songs like Kiwi in New York for the first time, and like everybody just screams it like so much louder. Like it's crazy. It's because you're actually in New York hearing that line.
No, literally being in New York and then Kiwi, like the New York stands go crazy. And then before the show, when he plays New York by Frank Sinatra, I don't know the name of it. I'm drawing a blank here. That's
Yeah, I think
embarrassing.
so.
It's literally just called New York. Everybody goes crazy. And like the songs that he plays before the show, like the New York stands go crazy. At One Night Only, he played that. Everybody lost it. And I was like, New York, stand up. It was so funny. It was like, salute the flag.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can move on to the touring section now. My first question is, how many times have you seen Harry live?
Okay, this is actually embarrassing because I've actually lost track. Well, I saw One Direction twice. So not including that, I saw him on the second HS1 tour, I guess you would call it. And then Fine Line once. And then I went to both Harry Weens, like very last minute. Thank you, Kat, for bringing me. It was the best time ever.
Yes,
and you
of
look
course.
so cute in your little costume.
Thanks,
Loved
you
it.
too.
And then the next show, like the next Harry Ween, I was in New York and bought a ticket like 10 minutes before doors opened. It was $100. And I just put on bunny ears and walked over. It was so funny. And then I saw him once this past tour, and I want to see if I can find something on Twitter and just go see him again, even if it's in the nosebleeds, just to like kind of hear everything, because it was kind of difficult to hear in the pit. Like he would say something and people would start laughing, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I have no idea what this man just said to me. Well, not to me, but to everybody.
No, really. I agree with that because, like, I was at the show where he made a joke about spitting on Chris Pine, and I was in the pit and I didn't even know he said that. Like, I got home and got on Twitter and was like, that happened?
Literally, it's so hard to hear what he's saying. I think the speakers are so loud, and I think I would just want to go one more time just to, like, hear everything. I don't even care where I sit. I just want to be in there. Like, the pit was fun. I was dancing, but also kind of, like, squished. But I think one time to just not worry about where I'm standing and just sit there and experience the music without being stressed. I was so stressed in the pit. And then he would come up in front of me and I was like, get away. I'm scared. I'm scared of you.
Oh, now I'm scared to be in the pit because, like, what if I don't hear whatever he says and, like, he's talking to me? Now I'm scared.
Don't be. It's totally fine. I guess I can share next. I've seen Harry 6 times live, and my 7th will be on the 21st, the last date of the residency. I went to his tour in 2018, the Live On tour. I was at the DC show, which kind of got a bad reputation, but it's fine. And I also attended both nights of Harry Ween, one night only at UBS for Harry's house. And I've been to 2 dates of the MSG residency this year, August 27th and September 7th, where I was in the pit.
I completely forgot about One Night Only. I think just because it was so stressful for me because I had class that morning and then I went home and Grace met me there. And then I drove to Staten Island and it probably took like 4 or 5 hours. And we had the album on loop. And I was like, please turn this off before I get sick of it. Cause we were just sitting in traffic. I literally forgot about that. I don't know why. And then I also saw him on the Today Show, like the first solo Today Show, and he was in like the salmon suit. And he played Stockholm Syndrome like out of nowhere, and it was the first time he ever played that. And I have this video of like on my camera, and I have a detachable lens on like I think it's a DSLR. I have not like picked up a camera in so long that all the knowledge just left my brain. And I have this video, and I have like this very large lens for zooming. I remember him starting to play Stockholm Syndrome, and I was like, me and my cousin went, and I was like, oh my God, this sounds like Stockholm Syndrome. And everybody was like talking about it, screaming, and then you just hear, who's that? And then you just hear like blood curdling screams, and my lens fell off of my camera. Like I had it in my hand because I had to support it, was so large. And the lens came off of the camera and the video stopped. And it's so funny to me because it's like, who is that? And then blood curling screams, and then it just like goes blank. It's so funny. It's my favorite like Harry experience ever.
Yeah, for sure. I remember being on Twitter that day and like watching it from home. Like I think that was like one of the first times that he had performed like solo, like a set. And so everybody was just surprised that he was like keeping One Direction with him.
I've seen Harry second night of Halloween. That was my first show. And then the last show in the UBS Arena. And then I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'm so scared. And I tried to go to One Night Only, but I had something and I could not skip that. So it was kind of sad.
Oh no, at least you like have tomorrow, because I feel like tomorrow will be really fun. It's the second night because he has a show tonight and then he has one tomorrow. And I heard that like the pattern is that he sings Medicine on the second night. I don't know like how accurate that is, but maybe you'll get like something special tomorrow. What do you all think is like your favorite show for Harry that you've been to of all of them?
I'm probably going to say Halloween night too, since it was like my first hair show, and I was like so nervous every time the date just got closer and closer. And when he played Medicine and Toxic, I was on the floor.
No, same. Did it get spoiled for you, or like you didn't have any clue? Because like the set list had started going around like while we were at the show. And so I kind of like wish it was like a surprise to me, but I knew it was coming.
It was like between yes and no because I tried to look on Twitter and none of it was loading. And then I met someone like in the elevator when we were trying to get down, and then she just said like, oh, did you hear like Medicine? He might play Medicine. I was like, no, I didn't. Why did you tell me?
Yeah, that's crazy. I would say Harry Wayne are like my favorites. I don't know. I guess maybe Harry Wayne night 2 is a little bit more superior than night 1. But like I feel like that whole weekend was just unmatched, and it has to be like my favorite Harry show. And another question I was going to ask, you can kind of like answer at the same time, was going to be like, have you ever attended like a special show, like One Night Only, Coachella, Harry Wayne, etc.? And I would say that like my favorite special show was Harry Wayne as well, because the weird thing about One Night Only is like I had made it such an effort to like not listen to any of the Harry's House songs before the album came out. So like I didn't see like the Coachella performances where he sang I think it was Late Night Talking and Boyfriends he had sang earlier. And I like waited. So like I didn't know like any of the songs. I was like listening to it that day for the first time. And so like when I went to One Night Only, I didn't know the words to the songs. And I feel like that was a weird experience to me because I couldn't sing along, and I always sing along. But like now I can appreciate the songs more when I hear them live. So I'd say that Harry Wayne is probably like my favorite show.
My favorite was the one last Thursday that I went to. Harry Wayne was so fun. I loved seeing him in the band and like all the coordinating outfits. And I love The Wizard of Oz. I think my mom actually like went into labor with me when she was watching The Wizard of Oz. So like I always held that close to my heart, which is like so funny to me. But I grew up and me and my mom always watched it together.
That's
like
so
when
nice.
I was a kid. It's so cute to me. And when he like came out and I was like, oh, like I kind of felt like a little bit of a connection, but I was like, oh, that's just so cute. And like the whole band, the whole outfit's like adorable. But I think my favorite one that I went to was the one last Thursday. Like I didn't camp out or anything just because I was like, I hate to say it, I don't have the patience for that anymore. So me and Grace went out, we got dinner, and it was just like, we were so like nervous. And then we were still eating. We were about to get the check and it was 6:00 and we were like, oh my God, we gotta go. And we took the subway to MSG, and then we got there. We could not find the end of the pit line. And so I ended up literally getting second row in the pit. And let me be clear, I did not cut the line. We don't do that, especially at a Harry show. Like, people will throw hands with you. We could not find the end of the pit line. We were cracking up. We asked like 2 security guards. We went up to so many people online. Someone I know from Twitter, I had no clue. I didn't recognize her. And she commented on my post and was like, oh my God, I saw you in the line. I was like, no way. And she was like, you literally asked me if I was in the pit line. And I was like, no. I was like, this is so embarrassing. I might have to delete this comment on my own Instagram post. But yeah, public service announcement. You do not need to camp to get a good view. And he came in front of me and Grace at like my favorite like moments, like New York Baby. I was jacked up. He was in front of us during like, I think Satellite and Late Night Talking, all my favorites. And it was just like so surreal because I was like, I don't want to deal with the stress of camping. I didn't want to go and do like the number system and the wristbands like that. I don't have patience for that anymore. Like, it sounds terrible, but I was like, it's the one show I'm going to. I want to enjoy it. I want to dance. And then we ended up getting like the best view. So I think that was definitely my favorite one. And for the special shows, I did go to Harryween and One Night Only. And One Night Only was so fun, but I kind of pressured myself, like you said, I pressured myself into listening to it. And I feel like I kind of ruined the album for myself because it was like on loop in like my headphones, like leaving school, going to school, sitting on the train, like in the car. And I was like, I don't want to ruin it for myself, but I don't want to look stupid and not know anything. And then I knew some songs and then some I didn't. So I was like, I feel like a clown right now. But out of all the special ones, I would say Harryween was my favorite because I love the costumes, and I wish that I was at Coachella because I watched it, like I watched the live stream or something or the videos after, and him coming out to As It Was with like the big coat was so scary looking. Like his eyes were so scary, and then he just starts running around. If I was there, I probably would have lost it. It was so funny just to see it.
I definitely agree with that, but I loved the Coachella fits, like 100%. And then like all of the special guests he had, like I've never been to a show where he's brought out a guest, and I feel like I need to experience that. And also like to second, like you don't need to camp. And I would also say like my show on the 7th was my favorite because I did pit for that show and it was my first time doing pit for Harry. And I was so nervous because I didn't go in the morning for the wristbands and I heard they were giving out like a ton in the morning. But I got there at like 5 p.m. and I had like the best view on the side that I wanted. He had like so many like key moments on that side of the stage. And so I think that was just like the best night, like being able to see him up close because for all the shows I saw Harry, like I was always like section 200 and up, like always in the nosebleeds. And then like all of a sudden, like I'm in the pit. So like that was a really crazy experience.
I had so much like pit anxiety because I wanted to be there for the wristbands and everything. But I was like, there's no way that I'm going from New Jersey to New York at like 5 in the morning and getting a wristband. And the way that they did the wristbands, they just like pulled random numbers out. So it really didn't make any sense. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't do that. And it's kind of messed up that they did like, they don't go by honor system and they just pull random numbers out. It truly makes no sense. I was like, I don't have patience for this. And if I, ended up getting there so early in the morning and they didn't like pick me and I didn't get a good spot, I would be like so in such a sour mood, and I had so much anxiety over it because I was like, I paid so much money for this. I hope I get a good view. And then towards like when I was at dinner, I was like, you know what? I paid so much money. At this point, I literally just hope I have a good time. Like, I don't want to try and like stress myself out about it because I already spent so much money on it, and then it ended up all working out perfectly, and I'm so happy it did. But this is your sign. You don't need to camp.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think they got rid of the lottery for this tour, like compared to last tour, but still like the way they had the numbers like lined up at the show, they had it going all the way up to 900 and like everybody was showing up late and so people were going in out of order anyways. So it was just like messy. I don't know that it was worth it.
The idea of it was like good, but then the like execution of it was terrible. Like the thought was there, and then the way that they did it, it was just like a mess and so unorganized. This year was so much better, or at least like the time that I got there at like 6:30, and it was pretty, went by pretty smoothly. But last year just was a mess. I will never forget that.
My next question is, what do you love about going to Harry concerts? I feel like for me, I love seeing Harry live, like hearing my favorite songs live. But I think one of the things that makes Harry shows so unique is the way that everyone dresses up. Like I think that's one of my favorite parts is just like being able to like curate a whole outfit as I'm like counting down the days and then like dressing up and taking my pictures at the venue and seeing like everyone else's outfits. I remember when I went to Harry's show in 2018. It was my first Harry show, and we were dressing up back then, and I had dressed up, and like people were actually like actively walking up to me and like saying that they liked my outfit. And I had never experienced something like that at a show before. And I think maybe it was just like Harry's whole like thing about like treat people with kindness and like go up to people and be nice and all of that. And I think like the whole atmosphere of Harry's shows just hits different. That's just my how I feel about it.
I have to agree with you on that, but with the atmosphere, like I just fell in love with the feeling and like my stomach dropping when he comes out. It feels so unreal, and I want to experience that over and over again. And dressing up for shows are the only concerts I can actually dress up for, and like I know what I want to wear and I feel confident in it. And with people complimenting you, that too, like it's so nice to hear people just come up to you and say something nice about you.
Yes, for sure. It's like a really great community. I totally agree.
I 100% agree with that. Like Harry shows overall are such an experience, and the fans like contribute to it like so much more than you would like any other show. And like comparing a Harry show to any other show, it is so different. Like it's such a community with like, the outfits, and everyone is so sweet and supportive. And going there, I get nervous in like big crowds a lot of the time, but going to a Harry show, that is like my safe place. Like I had no worries when I got in there. I was like, I feel so safe and supported with all of these fans who are all here for the same reason, all dressed up. And I love seeing people who make their own outfits. I love it. People are so creative. And then like the cowboy hats, I love it. And I also want to mention how he just makes it like a whole experience. Like the picture taking little things. I didn't get to do that and I was so sad, but I loved how he made like the picture taking thing, and it was like the subway. And last year was so cute with like I think it was like the treat people with kindness thing. His little like photo op things are so cute, and everybody wants to take a picture and it takes forever. So I unfortunately couldn't because I was in the pit. But the way he fully makes it an experience, and they have like special menu items, like he makes it a whole fan experience, and it's just really great doing like by his marketing team. Like he knows what he's doing. He's making it like so much more than a concert. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%. Like no one is doing it like him when it comes to like the whole experience of going to his shows. My last question is kind of like a double question. First, your favorite song to hear live. And second is the song that you wish you heard live before it got taken off the set list. or if it was never on the set list in the first place. And I can start. I would say my favorite songs to hear live. The first one that comes to mind is Sign of the Times. And I'd also say that the song I wish I heard live. So for Love on Tour, I did not go to a regular Love on Tour date. So I only got like the altered set list with like for Harry Wayne and stuff. And so I never got to hear Sunflower live, and I'm kind of like upset about that. I think that's it though, like the only one that I really, really want to hear live.
Okay, so my favorite on this past tour live was Late Night Talking. I feel like something is slightly different when he performs it live. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the pitch. I don't know. But it's different than listening to it like with my headphones or like on my phone or on a speaker. It's somehow different, and something about it is just so good. And Music for a Sushi Restaurant, the way that he did that with the YMCA was just so beautiful. And I heard rumors or just like people saying that he should do on the 21st of September.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Literally, I want to go to that show, but I feel like with my luck, if I go, he wouldn't do that. And if I didn't go, he would. But everyone was saying that he should use that song and then transition to Music for a Sushi Restaurant. And that was so good live. My dad literally texted me and he was like, can you video that song for me? My dad is like a Harry stan now because of me. It's so funny. Like the other day he was whistling a song. He like hums it. He listens to it in the shower. And I'm like, what have I done? I'm literally going to make him sign into my Spotify so that I'm like in the 1% of Harry Styles stans because he listens to it like all the time. But I think the song that I would want to hear again is Cherry, and Fine Line was so good live, and same with Lights Up. Those songs were so good live, and I actually cannot believe that he's not singing them like still. They're so good. They're so good live. I wish he would continue to sing them.
Okay, I haven't heard this live yet, but I'm really excited to hear it As It Was. I don't know, I just love the song, and I want to hear it live so bad. I wish I heard To Be So Lonely when it was like you didn't know if he was singing it or not. I agree with you about Lights Up. Like that song is so good live. And I can't believe it's off the set.
Yeah, I totally agree with Lights Up. Like when he first started not singing it and was off the set list, I was like, this has to be a joke because it's a single too. So you wouldn't think like that would be one to go like first. But like I miss Lights Up so much. And also, Tori, when you mentioned Fine Line, I have not heard Fine Line live either. And I feel like that's an experience I needed to have, but I don't think I'll ever will. And also, Ever Since New York, I heard it live in 2018, but like how we were talking about earlier, how like hearing a song live in New York when it references New York is just better. I really expected him to sing like Ever Since New York at least once or something like during these residencies. And I hope that maybe he will on like the 21st for something special, but I'm not expecting it, but totally wish that was still on the set list. And also like the horn section of the show, like when they're on stage, like I just feel like that changes everything. Like Late Night Talking, Cinema, all of those just sound like so much better with that band on stage. So I think that's also another favorite part of the show for me.
You're listening to Fan Fave with Katrina. Fan Fave with Katrina.
Thank you again to Tori and Andre for participating in that awesome fan panel focused on music and touring. Now we will hear from fans to talk about Harry's music as well as his other endeavors.
Well, I'm Caitlin. I became a fan of Harry also when he was in One Direction. I saw him before the iCarly episode, so I've already watched their video diaries and things of that nature. And I started being a fan when I was, 12, 13, and I'm 23 now, so it's been a while.
Hey, my name is Mary Jane. I have been a fan of Harry since One Direction. I really got into them in 2012 and immediately I gravitated towards Harry. So I would say the reason that I'm a fan of him is because aside from the fact that I think his music's really good, I think he presents himself to be such a genuine and good person, and it's really inspirational. The way he speaks about experiences in life, whether it's in his music or when he does interviews or whatever the case, I really admire how he looks at the world. And I also find his career to be inspirational because he's done music, he's done acting, he's done fashion, he's just delved into all kinds of different things. And that's really inspiring because it's like, well, maybe I can try like all the different things that I would like to do. So yeah, I just think he's a good person and he presents himself very well.
My first question about music is, do you have like a favorite song of Harry's? Like if you could only listen to one song by Harry forever, what would that be?
Oh, between his 3 albums?
Yeah. I know it's probably hard. So like if you have like a short ranking or something, you could totally share that as well.
Okay, so I would say for his first album, I would probably say Ever Since New York. I really like that song. For his second album, I would say, this is my favorite album, so it's going to be hard to choose. I'm going to say To Be So Lonely. And for his recent one, I'm definitely going to go with Keep Driving.
Those are all like really great picks. I definitely agree. Those are some of like my favorite Harry songs as well, especially To Be So Lonely. I wish he had sang it live a lot more than he did.
I agree. Yes.
My next question might be a little bit more difficult as a fan of Harry. Do you have like a least favorite song of his or one that you regularly skip?
Oh, absolutely. I would say for his first one, I'm going to go in order again, would be either Woman or Only Angel. For the second one, Sunflower Volume 6. And then for his recent one, it'll be Grape Juice. And I know everyone likes that song, but I'm like, it's a no for me.
No, I definitely agree with Grape Juice. Like, people are always chanting for him to sing it like at the shows. And I'm like, it's not there for a reason, maybe. I don't know. It's not one of my favorites either.
Yeah. But, it happens.
Yeah, for sure. The next question is, do you have a ranking of Harry albums? Which one is your favorite, your least favorite?
I would say they're all equally tied at number 1, only because each of his albums have a different vibe to it. And all of the songs just slap. So I feel like ranking the albums wouldn't give any of them justice because I feel like they're equally as important because he has a different sound, style, and era to all of them.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I really love how Harry kind of like explores with his music sound. I would say Fine Line is my favorite album of his. I think it does kind of change like throughout the sound of it, but in general, it's really great. My next question is, do you have a favorite music video of Harry's?
Ooh, I would say my favorite music video, I have 2. It would be Falling and Treat People with Kindness. I feel like those 2 are just nice to look at.
Yeah, for sure. You're actually like the first fan that I've talked to that's mentioned the Treat People with Kindness music video. And I feel like that one is kind of one that slipped through the cracks with fans. Like everybody was really excited when it first came out, but you never hear people talking about it now. So I'm really glad you brought that one up.
Oh, absolutely. So I recently just caught up with everything because I took a break from, standing him for a while. So I finally caught up with all of the music videos. And what caught me off guard was the dance scene. I'm like, oh, he has moves. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. My last question that's like music related is, do you have any special stories or relations to songs by Harry that you would want to share?
Yes, I do. So like I mentioned, I took a break from, listening to Harry and of course the other boys. But I would say that my mom, she really likes the song Watermelon Sugar. And me, it's one of those, I'll listen to it, but it's not something I would willingly listen to. And so I showed her the music video and she was like, I like this. And recently I saw the Grammys, like the little snippets on Instagram and Twitter. So I was like, let me show my mom. And I have a recording of her watching the performance. And she was like blown away. She was saying, oh my goodness, he looks like he's having fun. He has some sisters up there. He has some rhythm. I was just like, yep. So she always tells me to always play that version of Watermelon Sugar instead of the music video.
I agree. Like the Grammys performance of that was like the best one. And I really wish that like the background singers had like kind of stayed around. I don't know if it was like a temporary thing for the Grammys, but I would like have loved to see them like on tour with him as well, because they were all like amazing, killing it.
They definitely were, but I noticed that he definitely included the horns in the Grammys and on tour. So I feel like that's, something.
Yeah, the horn section is like the best part of the show. Do you have like a favorite era of Harry? I guess kind of like his music or anything in that realm. For me, I can kind of start. My favorite Harry era is like the HS1 Dunkirk era. It was like the start of something new for Harry, I feel like, in his career, between like him starting off with like his solo sound and HS1. I'm like really nostalgic to it. I was like a senior in high school when it came out. So that album means a lot to me. And then also like his first movie, Dunkirk, that whole era was just really exciting.
Can I include eras from the One Direction days?
You 100% can.
Okay. So I would say my favorite Harry eras would be long hair Harry, frat boy Harry, fine line, and current. So I have 4 favorite eras of him.
All of those are amazing. I have to say, like, frat boy Harry is a great one that stands out 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Miss those days.
If I had to choose a favorite Harry era, I would probably pick HS1, just because I think it was a great time. Like, it was the beginning of his solo career, so I didn't really know what to expect. It was very exciting, very refreshing, and the tour for that album was just amazing. It was perfect, in my opinion, and the setlist was great. Casey Musgraves is one of my favorite openers that he's ever had, and I didn't even listen to her music prior, but when I saw him live, I immediately became a fan of her. And the outfits for that tour were just so perfect. Like every single night, I remember like waiting to see what he was gonna wear because it was just that good. And Self-Titled is just an album that will always be special to me and have a lot of meaning, like so sentimental and nostalgic, and I really love it. I do think his current era is really good, and I love Harry's House. It's such a good album, and like lyrically, I feel like he's become a lot more descriptive, which I love, but HS1 is just, it'll always be like up there for me. Speaking of his tour outfits, though, HS1 definitely outsold. His outfits for Love on Tour 2021, I got a little tired of suspenders, I can't lie, and his current outfits are a little bit better than just the suspenders. My favorite outfit, though, that I've seen Harry in live was Coachella Weekend 2. He wore this pink outfit with like cherries and strawberries on it, and he had HS on his back pockets of his pants, and it was just so perfect, glittery, everything. I love pink, so I was very, very happy to see him walk out in that, and the big pink coat. It was just amazing.
My next question is, have you seen any of Harry's movies, and do you have like any opinions on any of them?
I've seen Dunkirk, and I've seen his clip in Eternals. I haven't seen Don't Worry Darling, seeing on the 22nd, and I'm very excited. And I haven't seen My Policeman, but I'm also excited for that one. I can't really speak too much on his acting since I haven't seen a lot of it, but I don't doubt that he did a really good job. So yeah, it's something I'm really looking forward to.
The only one I've seen so far was Dunkirk, and yeah, because it was his first one, I kind of took it with a grain of salt. I always thought he was really good from the trailers that he was in and things of that nature. It was really cool to see a different side of him besides performing. And next week I'm going to be seeing Don't Worry Darling, but from what I've seen in the trailers as well, it seems like he stepped out of his comfort zone a little bit more, because I noticed he has PG-13 and R-rated movies that he's in. So it's like he's in the adult side of film. And so it's kind of like nice to see that because he is a grown man. But I kind of want to know as well, like if you do anything PG related stuff. Well, I guess Marvel is PG-13, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great point that you bring up. I didn't really think of things like that. I've seen Dunkirk, and I really only went to see it because of Harry, because I really do not like war movies. So there was like no way I was going to see it. But that one I thought was like just overall like a really good movie. I'm really excited to see Harry and Don't Worry, Darling, because this is like a movie where he's going to have a big role in it. And I'm really curious to see how well he does. And also the story just seems really interesting as well.
Oh, absolutely. I don't really care for war movies either, but I love psychological thrillers. And I feel like Don't Worry, Darling is going to be one of them. And for the My Policeman, I'm really excited to see. From what I've seen on Twitter, it's like a kind of like a heartwarming, sad love story. And it's just something that I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, and he seems to be getting like a lot of great like press reactions from My Policeman. So I think he's really going to shine in that one as well. My next question is, what are your thoughts on like the fashion of Harry? Do you have any favorite outfits that he's worn, or are you like looking forward to something in the future, like his Gucci collection?
I think his fashion overall, though, is really good. And I love how unique it is and how like distinctive it is to him and his personality. I draw a lot of fashion inspiration from his like casual looks and sometimes his like photo shoots and stuff. But one of my favorite outfits he's been seen in like casually is this blue and white outfit. Like he's wearing some blue slacks, I think, and a sheep sweater vest and pink shoes. And I just think it's a really good outfit. He looks really good. If anyone knows the outfit I'm talking about, like, you'll know. But his hair also looks really great that day. Like, such a good outfit. And I also just love when he wears, like, you know, classic graphic t-shirts, loose pants, some sneakers, and sunnies. Like, he just wears a casual look so effortlessly, and I'm very jealous of that. But for photo shoots and, like, things he's worn to events, I would say some of my favorites are his Met Gala look. Very simple, I don't know, but I just love a good black outfit, so I was a huge fan. And I love his Vogue photo shoot. I think all the pictures from there are really good. And there's this photo shoot that Harry did with Gucci where he's like holding a bunch of animals, and I think the outfits in that photo shoot is just like, they're perfect. So good. I love all the pieces, everything. His hair looked great. Like, it was perfect. So yeah, I love to see Harry in fashion.
Yeah, so to me, his iconic signature would be his Chelsea boots and fedora era. And when he would wear those like loose shirts where it was like unbuttoned to where you could see his tattoos. That for me is like Harry that I absolutely remember. But I definitely enjoyed his HS1 and Fine Line outfits. I feel like it was more comfy and laid back, but also it had his style to it. Like you could tell it was him. Like he wasn't plain, but he had a little bit of spice to his outfits. And the for his Gucci collection, I feel like it's okay. It's like not for my, it's not my target audience, like and stuff like that, if that makes sense. So I feel like his Gucci collection is just one of those things that he has on the side, but I don't think, I'm the target audience for that. So I'm just like, okay, cool. He has, a little fashion, like a fashion line. I feel like that's kind of cool. So other than that, the Gucci thing's really cool. I feel like with his Live on Tour outfits, I personally feel that a lot of the outfits that I didn't like, everyone liked, and vice versa. So it's just like, oh, okay. He's definitely out there. He's wearing patterns and styles that don't go together, but he makes them work. So I respect that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like his outfits, especially like at the residency happening right now at MSG, they've definitely been like out there, like mixing like polka dots and stripes, but it's very him. So I feel like that's great. And I'd also say that like maybe it's like a rare opinion because everyone on Twitter was hating on it, but his Love on Tour outfits from last year, I personally liked like the whole suspenders look and like the idea that like he was kind of dressed the same every night, but each city got like a different color combination. I really thought that was cute.
Yes, and I especially like the different textures of that outfit. So for some of them, it'd be like silk, satin, leather, or something like that. And I just like how he makes it work. Like he just pulls it off.
I feel like that's something that I'm okay with seeing like a lot more of with Harry. And I think that was going to be like my next question is like, is there something specific like outside of music that you would want to see Harry kind of like dive into? I like the whole fashion stuff that he's into, like more like Vogue covers and just kind of like expanding in that world. I feel like I'm also not the target audience really for Gucci. So maybe spanning out to something that's like also for the fans as well would be really cool.
I would pretty much say I would love to see him more in the acting world, like I mentioned about different ratings that he's in for, adults versus kids. I feel like he has a lot of talent. And I think it'd be really cool if he got an EGOT award, because I feel like if he can act, sing, and starting to really dance, I feel like if he could get an EGOT, that'd be very legendary, because it's very few artists and celebrities that have that award. So if he could explore more of like the stage presence and dancing and acting and get an award for it, because he is really talented. He really does work for the things that he believes in. So if he wants to do something, I definitely know that he can. And so just seeing him, just do little things at a time with the movies and with his albums and stuff like that, I feel like he really could get the whole experience from it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like his talent is so multifaceted, and I would love to see him on Broadway. I know it was like for the movie, but I remember hearing like rumors that he could potentially play like Fiero in the Wicked movie. And so it's like he could do it on Broadway too for like a limited engagement or something. I would love to see him like try out something in the stage world. That's like a really great point that you bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I'm not much of like an awards show watcher and things of that nature. I don't really do, the musicals or Broadway. That's just something I'm not interested in. But I feel like if he does something, I, look at it, but I wouldn't fully engage in it, because I know everyone has their own opinion. But if I don't know much about the topic, I'm not going to say too much about it. I'll listen and, understand both points of view. But it's just like, I'm here for the experience, not to judge.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. My last question is, what is your favorite Harry memory? Whether it's a concert of his that you went to, or a special event, or a moment that you had with his music?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. I would say I'm gonna bring up the concert. So I'm from Wisconsin, and he finally came when he was in One Direction. And I was in high school, and it was so surreal to see long hair Harry like right in front of you and things of that nature. It was really nice because he's a Packers fan. I'm a Packers fan. So I feel like we have that, that little connection right there. But I would just definitely say anything he's done solo wise, or when he was in One Direction, with the school supplies and the movies and just everything is a special memory. I can't really pinpoint one thing because he really did make up my childhood. And so it's just like one of those things where everything that he did, I remember, and from the music videos and things of that nature, and watching them on the Today Show, Good Morning America interviews and stuff like that, I feel like everything is memorable for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really great point. I just feel like growing up like with Harry and One Direction and kind of like in that whole atmosphere of being a fan of the music and everything, like you just kind of like make so many memories over the years. So all of that is really meaningful and valuable. And also like about the Packers and stuff, like there's so many videos of Harry like from that era, like on tour where he would make jokes. So like that's really cool that you got to see him talk about that.
Yes, and the fact that now he came to Milwaukee when I was in Arizona for school, and I was really hurt, but at the same time, I wasn't listening to his album like that. So if I went, I wouldn't know any of the songs. But now that I've caught up with everything, I'm like, why is he in Chicago? Why is he in Bears territory? But it's just like fun little banter stuff like that. So I don't take it too hard.
Yeah, for sure. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening, and an awesome thank you again to all the fans featured on both this episode and part 1. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Fan Fave podcast coming in 2 weeks, and make sure to follow at Fan Fave Media on all social media platforms to keep up with everything. See you soon.